Back, Alchemist. This is Abundance Thursdays with myself, Gualter, Amarelo, and the great Vinney Smile Chopra. Vinney, welcome back, brother.
Welcome everybody. It's such a pleasure. Such a pleasure. It's cold outside, almost 52 degrees here in California. It was 105 degrees last week. 105 to 53 today. So I
This
said
is
I'll be in my studio and kind of, talk to you all. And
it's one of the
it's
funny
full pleasure.
things about you being in California and me being in Florida, right? Like, so when you say a cold day, I'm just like, what's broken in California? Why doesn't it work? Because I was telling you earlier, I used to live in Massachusetts. only ever flew to California, and it was always warmer.
Yeah.
It was always better there. So perspective. So, Vinny, what's principle 34? It's one that you can relate to better than most entrepreneurs because you've been through a lot of challenges. You've been alive longer than most entrepreneurs. You've been through a lot of challenges. And I say that you're 71 years young, almost. You're coming up. Your birthday's coming up in August, so you'll be 72 years
72, brother. 72. I'm tipping over on the 72 side.
young. You're more on this side of it than the other
Yeah,
side.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, wealth principle 34 is accept what can't be changed and create an advantage. It ties really close to the fund you just created this year, which is the Opportunity Fund, where a lot of entrepreneurs, investors in the real estate space were struggling with interest rates and with higher
Yes.
operational costs. With
And insurance costs and all the things, brother, the cash flows are not there. So actually, our opportunistic fund, which is strategic income fund, you're right, it's 506C. I want to say that because I'm a syndicator fund manager. I can talk about it. It's for accredited investors only, accredited investors. So I can talk about it. But you're right, it's designed to really give breathing room to the operators, usually what, half a billion to 5 billion net, AUM, because we are not looking to give lifeline to struggling assets. Sorry, please don't contact me for that. It's only if you're 97% occupied or more and you need some special help so that you could get a new loan, lock in rate, it's called also locking the lower interest rate with the rate lock, or like some capex, very small amount, but they have to be pretty new assets, like 2018 and newer.
Now, this is a different fund from the funds you've done in the past. The previous
Mhm,
funds you did
mhm.
last year were $100 million each.
Yeah,
This one's a much smaller amount. Why did you
much
go
smaller.
smaller? Why did you feel it's just not going to be as long an opportunity? You just want to kind of solve the problem quickly? Like, why such a small fund for you?
That's a good point. Now, I'm only raising $5 million because after looking at so many deals, we have targeted one. Another one is coming up on the horizon. So we are only raising, it's a fund, $75 million fund, which is pretty good size, but we could increase, or I know maximum is 75, but we can cut it down to as little as we want to in the ppm and everything. So we are doing incremental raising. It's not worth to raise a lot of money and not apply, you
Right.
know so that's the main reason. And we are giving, the dividends, we call it, in this fund right from day one, which is unheard of. In other words, like, we have already vetted the deal, everything. As people, invest with us, we start paying them, 10% plus upside, or 12%, straight. So that's a pretty good return in this today's market, where lots of assets are bleeding, really bleeding. And somebody told me that Realty Mogul, I shouldn't say the name, but again, somebody told me, guys, I want to let that there are 45 plus assets which are on a cash call. That means that they need more money to be able to really make that, not go into foreclosures and all that. So multifamily, with interest rates being high, the prime rate being high, it's really jumbled it up. It's made it very difficult.
I think it's fitting because this wealth principle is, tough times, right? It talks about tough times. So the principle again,
Yeah,
for those of you who are just logging in, is accept what can't be changed and create an advantage. So there are some things
yeah,
we can't control. We can't control the interest rates. We can't control the
no,
inflation on insurance costs. We can't control the cost of management now. We can't control certain laws that are being removed by the
yeah.
government. The law that just got pulled off, the non-compete law, like this can create
Mhm.
challenges for real estate investors who had people working for them who were on non-competes, and now they can go compete with them directly. So
Yeah.
there's changes that we can't control. And I think the biggest one has been interest rates. That truly, as far as the multifamily space is concerned,
Mhm.
you're right. There are assets bleeding out. And Vinny, I'll validate what you just said. Like, you know, an operator who has a lot of people who are doing cash calls. In Alchemist
Mhm.
Nation, almost every syndicator I have interviewed in the last 5 years recently has come back to me and said, "Hey, by the way, do you know anybody who's looking to invest? You know,
Yes.
my assets are, we're
Mhm.
doing like kind of a second phase where we're doing
Yeah.
a call. We're looking for more capital for deals that we already have. They're
Sure.
not coming to me with deals that are brand new. They're coming to me
Yeah.
with deals they've been operating, which this is the first year I've ever seen this in my career as, somebody who's
Mhm.
talking to syndicators all the time. So
Totally.
this is a change. This is a change. The market's done this. It's not the operators. These are great operators, some of the best in the industry.
Totally.
When you came up with the strategic fund, the opportunity fund, how did you know? How did you know to decide like which operators were right for you? I know you just said like 500 million or more. Like, how did you know like that there would be operators who could still that this could work, right? Where a little infusion of cash would work.
The preservation of capital is number one. See, the sentiment in the marketplace is, hey, multifamily, which are really bleeding, and cash flow is not given to the investors. So their whole sentiment is different. So we started this thinking about 7, 8, 10 months back. There will be a need for it. That's how my partner Sapan and I, and his company and I, we've been doing some business together for last 5 years. We like each other, we love each other, we work on weekly, daily basis, and our goals are same: taking care of our investors and everything. That makes a big difference. And then this is a really opportunistic fund, just like you said, to save the day for the operators who know how good they are and they have high AUM, sits under management of 500 million to 5 billion, then we feel good strongly. Like the one we are investing in, they have 25 million of their own money, the operator's money, into it. So we feel secure. And our fund comes right after the senior debt. And in the special vehicle, we are able to put some clauses to make sure that we are paid, with the terms that they have accepted and we have accepted. So it's a preservation of capital is number one. Secondly, you got to pivot. See, I always say that, Vinny, we've been selling, by the way, all the assets. And I have a good news for you. I just sold my Melbourne property last Wednesday, closed, returning $16.17 million to my investors. Safely land a ship or a helicopter, whatever, right, at a standing ground and give money back with returns and also catch up on the missed pref plus some equity gain. Pretty darn good. So we are very happy that we are able to do that. I did that for my other asset over there in Knoxville about a month back, 3 weeks back. So we've been selling the assets
Same.
and
I've been selling a
yeah.
lot of assets myself. So it's time to
Yes,
cash up,
yes,
right? Get the cash, stack up wealth. I know you've been
totally,
investing in
totally.
the stock market with extra cash you've been bringing back.
Yeah, yeah.
These are things you can't raise capital for, right? You can't raise capital to go put money in your stock accounts. So it
No,
makes sense to
no.
recapitalize and do a lot of that. So for investors right now who are in a good position, or were in a good position, but now they're seeing the multifamily spaces, turning sideways or turning upside down. Like
Mhm,
I know a lot of people who are in the family office space that are 5 million under management or 10 million under
mhm.
management, and I know people who are 50, 100 million, like much larger operators, and
Yes.
they're right now coming to me saying, "I've got capital, but I'm not interested." Right? Like, I've got capital, but my appetite's not there. They're concerned. They're in a conservative space.
Mhm.
Like, I'm personally a
And
little
right
conservative space right
attitude.
now
Mhm.
myself.
Really right attitude. I'm telling you, because see, sometimes we make wrong decisions in the heat of everything. And we just don't know where Fed is taking us. I mean, up and down, up and down. They're saying maybe one cut now, maybe it's 0.25% in November, end of November. Maybe in the next meeting in July, they might say no, no, no. It's just mind boggling. And then it's an election year. So a lot of things are up in the air. I would say, to keep the dry powder dry and look at it, the best deal. Let many of people need us, right? But we got to really come with the diamond. We need to make sure that we are not throwing money after bad money, throwing
Yes.
money, good money after bad money.
Sunk cost fallacy, right? Where it's like, oh, I'm already invested in this deal. The capital call comes. Let me just reinvest, reinvest, reinvest. It really, you gotta go back and evaluate the operator, go back and evaluate the deal itself,
Yes,
and evaluate
yes,
your own personal financial situation, right? Like,
totally, totally.
so Vinny, you get this. You get this. I know you get this. Like, I have this week been offered 20, 30, 40 opportunities to invest. I have a finite amount of money to invest, or I could
Mhm.
capital raise for these guys, and they're like, oh, this is a great deal, a great deal. In fact, I just got off the phone with another great deal, great opportunity, great operator. And it's like, how do you know which is the right one when you're looking at, because you have the same problem. People, I'm sure, throw you deals left and right every day in your mastermind and your DMs.
Mhm.
How do you like walk through and say, wow, I'm already committed and I'm just going to stay committed to these, and then you know, but you want to keep those relationships. I never want to miss out on an opportunity. So help me out with
You
that, Vinny.
know, I would say that, hey, I really appreciate you reaching me out. To be truthful, I have so many deals on my table, and it's taking us time to go through them and underwrite and make sure our preservation of capital is there, the upside. So it's not slam and dunk for my team to decide whether we will be doing it, but we are very, very particular. So I don't want to be, like hanging on. If you find right away, there are some small red flags, I say that they will become bigger red flags. I say that smaller yellow, no, green flags, the big green flags might get smaller, the red flags will get bigger. So we need to do really good due diligence, who the operators are, how much money they got involved, what kind of managing of the asset is going on for the last 3 years or 2 years, and where did the operations went haywire. Lots of things have to be looked at. See, with my partner and I, we have close to 3.5 billion, 3.5 billion. So we have just seen the water, we have seen the ups and downs. So I would say to anybody that brings things to you or I, slow down to speed up. I say that. So take a lot of time in figuring it out. You can make a quick decision and say, hey, here is my money. You can't say that. You cannot say that in this market.
Uh, yeah, that right there is what I need to
Yeah.
hear, Vinny. It's so good. And I know a lot of investors who are currently coming to me and they're coming to you saying, hey, what should I invest in right now? And
Mhm.
my answer has really been get some due diligence under your belt. Like similar to what you just said, is like
Yes.
really learn how to evaluate
Yes.
the operator. And in fact, I did a course yesterday called Be the Bank, and I was like,
Aha.
here's my passive income blueprint, right? Go and acquire $1 million or $10 million worth of equity from a deal that you do,
Mhm.
and then transfer that into passive income. I think a lot of people just go and they acquire, 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 acquire. But sometimes the property doesn't provide cash flow. It may be 3 years,
Surely.
4 years before you stabilize and
Mhm.
get the cash flow. And so my suggestion was, why don't you just acquire, get the capital, and then passively
Mhm.
invest, LP or loans or debt or
Mhm.
passive investments. And then at the end, they were like, okay, like, well, how do we know if it's a good deal to passively invest? And my answer was like, you got to do a lot of due diligence. There's a lot of due diligence
You
on the
know,
operator.
you hit the nail on the head. See, the thing is, people are trying to remember when people show you the decks, everybody watching us or listening to us, when they show you the deck, it's the bride. They want they're going to do everything possible to put everything in the deck so that you could buy into it. So you got to take it at its value, but then look at their projections and other stuff and everything. You got to do due diligence and look at the asset itself and where it has come. History speaks. Where is the rent growth? Is it regression? Are there, they're paying, what's that called? 1 month free. There's so much going on right now to survive, occupancy level. I mean, the P&L tells you so much, real P&L, not the fabricated one. So you want to really make sure you go deeper and deeper and don't make haste decisions. I tell my LPs also, I'm returning 16 million plus some other million, $22 million. I mean, a lot of investors are reaching out to me about the fund. So I explain everything. Hey, this is where we are putting. These are our criteria. This is where you will be getting paid and all that. So everybody should do full due diligence. Scammers are there. I mean, you've got to be careful.
The scammers are there, Vinny. You're a positive guy. I'm a positive guy.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
never ever talk about this. We never talk about the shysters and the uneducated and the people who are making mistakes left and right, or have never done a
Mhm.
deal before. What if you could give a warning to people who are looking to invest and just be a little honest about it? Like there are probably more bad operators than good operators. Is that a fair assessment?
Totally. Very fair, brother. What has happened is not because who they are,
Right.
but the circumstances made them that way. Because they were new in last 3, 4 years, they jumped into, they bought these assets at the peak, the interest rates, they were thinking to do some value add and then get a new loan. And now the bridge loans are due, and cost of, like we said, insurance and the rates have gone up and everything. So they're really hard in a rock place right now, just because they bought at a wrong time. That's what I'm saying. But at the same token, the property values have not gone down that much. I mean, unless you look at our foreclosures or things like that, you got to be in that circle to find those deals. But again, the biggest thing is when economy is so in a turmoil, it's an election year, and we don't know how the Fed is going to behave. The calmness needs to be there. you know,
Calmness.
yeah, calmness of saying, hey, my money getting a little bit return is better than not losing my money.
It's a fair assessment, right? Like this
Yeah.
safety to money, fleet to safety is, or flight to safety is a natural movement of the marketplace.
Totally,
Uh,
totally.
to go back to the bad operators, and I know it's not where either of us want to be.
Mhm,
What are
mhm.
some signs that you could tell somebody wouldn't be the best operator? Now, obviously, these are not they're just rules of thumb. Like we're not pointing out to anybody saying, "Hey, this is a bad operator." But if we were to say there are certain red flags that you look for that you would know right away, okay, I need a better answer than this what's on the PPM, or I need a better answer than this from the operator. What are some red flags for sure, like top three red flags you look for that would say, you know what, this person might not be ready yet to do this deal?
That's a good point. I would say I've been investing in LPs also in many deals, right? And when the dividends stop giving out, something is happening where they cannot give the dividends. Of course, like in my case, when we sell some assets, we stop the dividends because we don't know if we need that extra money for repairs and credits and everything. So that way, it's very natural to do that when you're selling the asset. But when the expenses go higher, like we just discussed, that dries up the cash flow at the end. That's where it gets then the drying up of the dividends happen. But again, as an operator, a good operator, communication is the big thing. You've got to communicate with your investors, make them feel, where the market is. They know it too. They look at television, they look at all the news and everything. So being clear and also giving strategies, how they will be weathering the storm, I say. How they weather the storm is a very big thing. So essentially, scammers, I shouldn't use the word that loosely, but the thing is, be careful. Somebody just shared with me yesterday, Vinny, somebody said, give me $10,000 or something, and they will invest into something, and in 1 year, this person will have a line of credit of $1 million. I said, you know what? It just doesn't tell me how they're going to do it for you. You don't
Right.
have experience, you don't have other stuff. They're just trying to scam you. So
Yeah.
I said, I'll be doubly, triply, very careful what you're trying to do there.
That actually reminds me of another one that I've heard of many times is a line of credit, but you have to give $1 million first, right?
Oh my
We'll give you a
gosh.
$4 million line of credit, but you need to give us $1 million.
Yeah.
I've not been able to justify doing one of those. What is your
Oh my
experience?
gosh. I came across that too last year or maybe year before. Somebody said, we give you $50 million line of credit. If you give us 20% of that, that's $10 million.
Right,
You have to put 10 million, then we'll give you and all that. I say it doesn't make sense to me. It just
right.
doesn't.
But they
So
have
please be aware. Yeah.
legitimate websites, legitimate emails. But
Hmm.
you and I are tech guys. Like we know it costs $100 to put up a
That's
website
it.
and an email.
Totally, totally. You could write anything on the website. You could have
Right.
the best pictures. You could do all these fake things. It's just mind blowing. And with AI, you could design any kind of wording and everything. But be careful, everybody, be careful who you are really dealing with. And it's good to preserve cash, make little less on it, T-bills and others and coupons, 4.5%, 5%, 6%, not bad, but find out if you're getting 10% return, find out why and how they're going to give you 10% or 12%, you know?
It's good. I know we've gone into the negative and the pain of the market and the challenges right now, and there are just more problem operators out there. There's more people promising things they can't deliver on. In fact, I just looked at a deal where, and I think I don't know anything about the operator other than it's a friend of mine presented it to me. So he doesn't know
Hmm.
the operators himself. He just was like, "Hey, are you interested?" They're offering a 20% cash on cash, like just 20% interest. So I'm like, okay, I like 20%. But how? How? And I was looking at the whole PPM and everything they were doing, the valuation, and their monthly expense was 28,000, 25,000. Their gross net they were saying was going to be 150,000. So I was like, oh, I love those numbers, but it's a $10 million deal. You're paying us
Hmm.
investors 20% at a 6 month note, which is hard for me to understand on a development project, and that like there's no notice of like the mortgage, which I know of $10 million mortgage is like a $40,000 a month expense line. And then there was no
Yeah.
way they're going to fill the units. Like there was no plan. This wasn't like a multifamily deal. This was like a co-op space, event space. So there was like no staff in place already pre-leasing. Because like if you're gonna do wedding events and stuff, you're gonna be booking those out 9 months in advance. You don't need the building done yet. You just need to be able to get that done, right? Like I know with your RALs, like you'll have 60%, 70%
Yeah.
filled before you put the shovel in the ground. So, or before you complete the project.
Complete the project.
And I couldn't
Yes,
see
yes,
any of
yes.
that. I saw no salaries on there. There was no, because they were talking about
Mm.
leasing a lot of space, but there was no salaries. And so I just went
Oh,
back to my buddy and I was like, bro, like
wow.
in my mind, there's like at least 80,000 of missing expenses on this monthly missing expenses. And I'm concerned, right?
Wow.
But the operators, he doesn't know them, so he's going to go do the due diligence. But this is like one of those deals where it's like, okay, like 20, they hit you with the 20%, return on investment. But it's like, how? How can you even justify a 20% return? How are you going to pay it off
That's the
without
thing.
any
See,
kind of
that's.
underlying income? So,
I'm so glad you're asking those things. And, the key thing is regular limited partner, maybe very busy entrepreneur, professional. They may not have the time or the knowledge, but the key thing is just take time out to really ask around and get some people involved in your circle to vet the deal. I call vetting the deal, especially in these turbulent markets, because you don't want to lose money. The biggest thing is not only preservation of capital is one thing. Would I get my money back? Second thing is, are they promising too high numbers? And how they're going to bring it? Just like you said, show me how it's going to change, switch overnight, where this asset will start leasing quickly. There is no leasing expense, like you said, and a lot of things are not happening that quickly that we think they will. Yeah.
and this the worst part, Vinny, is the whole first page, the first 4 pages were like super cool. It was like, oh my God, this is like the greatest project ever. I want
Yeah.
to get into this. It wasn't until I got to the other PDF, the entire other PDF that had like the Excel breakdown. I was like, it's scary, right? It's scary. You start looking at the numbers. So going back to the principle, I know we gotta jump off. We gotta finish this
Yes.
up real quick.
Yes.
But what are the strategic strategies for acceptance? So Principle again, for those who are just jumping in, is principle 34: accept what can't be changed and create an advantage. We just talked about what can't be changed. The market is the way it is. The operators are the way they
Mhm.
are. And you've already given us some tips of like, okay, like evaluate the operators better, learn how to underwrite deals better. Um, Hold back your money until you're 100% for sure. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. So
Mhm.
some of the strategies you sent me notes, there were five: mindfulness,
Yes.
gratitude, letting go of expectations, self-compassion, and radical acceptance. So if somebody has messed up and invested in a bad deal, how do they turn it around? Like using that strategy.
Wow, wow. That's a, individual case, answer what is happening, right? What is happening. But the biggest thing is that we got to be totally realistic and don't just be selling or doing fire sale. Just like when the stock goes down, you don't want to do a fire sale to get out. So I think taking time to find every avenue to weather the storm. I say that. That's why I'm saying gratitude and all that and looking through everything and be mindfulness. That's a big thing. Because when it's the hard time, that's when we need to go to work and thinking through how can we really pass the storm. I say that. Some people are doing cash calls. That's the right way to do it because you've got to preserve the capital of investors. Otherwise, if it goes to foreclosure, everybody loses. I mean, their whole 100% will be lost, right? So you got to really share with them real numbers, share with them the real plan, share with them what is needed, and then be conservative and cut down the expenses. See, that's the biggest thing. When the revenues decrease, I had a meeting with, this week actually, today's Thursday, and we talked about in our meeting how to cut expenses. Our third party management company were spending money like it's nobody's business. We said, no, 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 we got to cut it down. We got to cut down here, here, here. And right after that meeting, I saw the memo, that, hey, let's cut down. That's what we need to do. When we are in hard times, we got to bootstrap. And then even the operators should be able to put their money to survive. They need to do that. If they don't have the cash outside, then, they are wrong operators. I
Yeah.
mean, at peak, I think one time I put $3 million of my own money, cash, at 0% interest to save my deals. That's who, my wife and I, we believe in preservation of capital, and making sure investors are taken care of. I know in Atlanta deal, my investors cried when I shared with them what I had gone through in 3 months, where we put our money to save their money. And we got $8.5 million loan in 15 days. I talk about it sometime, and very high interest rate to pay off Fannie Mae loan, which were trying to foreclose on my asset. And if I had let it happen, my investors would have lost $6 million. I I I couldn't let that happen. Anyway, but the big thing is, please, please, please vet the operators and be very genuine and ask them. Don't take their bullshit. I shouldn't say that, but look
You
through
can say
numbers.
it,
Like
Vinny, because it's true.
I know, I
Don't
mean,
buy the fluff, right? Don't buy the fluff. Don't buy the
don't
BS.
buy the fluff.
Yeah.
Don't buy them because they got to put it in a, candy, I'd say, right? First 4 pages of that proposal was candy to you. Looked really good. But then you started peeling off the wrapper and everything, then you saw, oh no, how is that going to be penny? Yeah,
Just empty
yeah,
calories, Vinny. It was just empty calories.
yeah, yeah.
Just sugar and sweets and nothing good for me in the long term. But I don't know that. Like I told a
Yeah,
friend who presented
no,
to me, I was like, look, go talk to the operators. These are the
totally.
questions I have, and maybe it does become a
Totally.
great deal, and maybe it's super cool. But it's
Mhm.
like these are the things that you're asking.
And
So
it's the profile of the person. See, what's your risk profile? Everybody's got a different risk profile. Some might say, what, it looks great or whatever, and 6 month only, but you said it was a development deal and all that. See, development deals are having trouble right now
right.
you know So we want to be making sure that it's horizontal construction development or vertical. Then, of course, how they're going to lease, just like you said, all those factors have to come into play to find out if that's a good deal or not. Yeah.
Vinney Chopra, you have made me feel so much better with, wealth principle 34 is accept what can't be changed for everybody's logging in and create an advantage. And what we discussed today is that the market is the way it is. We can't change it. It's not great. It's not bad. It's just different from what it was in the past. So moving forward, the opportunities that you've presented to me, Vinney, are the RALs, the ASLs.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
multifamily if you've got a great story behind how you're getting this at a great deal and you can get the financing low enough. But
Totally.
it's really and I've seen a lot of people do well with flips. It's one of those things I won't
Totally.
touch, but the
Oh,
flips
totally.
are
Yep.
and we're
Hmm.
financing flips. Like I've jumped in on a few and I've made a real great high return, but they're small things, right? You can't really it's hard to scale
Hold
that
on.
model up.
Let
Yeah.
me just share, and if we bought that property, everything, I'm
Yep.
getting 40% returns in 7 months on my money on a flip. I just love the operator who sold
Yep.
me my RAL in
Yep.
Arizona, Scottsdale. She gave me another deal today. We are doing it. I'm getting my license on the other one, 10 bedroom, 9.5 bathroom. And I already applied for SBA loan for 1.365 million. Everything I put in, I'm going to get it back. I can do many of these now. So it's good to really know the knowledge is immense. It's out there, see? And I feel like as a curious boy, I want to know everything about everything. And then I'm teaching that in my academy now. So I would love to even put some things in Alchemist Nation if some students are interested. Let's do a webinar where I would like to teach 1 hour, 1.5 hour, brother, with you, and we'll record it. We'll keep it as a part of the syndication academy with RALs in that one. So if anybody's
Added to it.
interested,
You actually just
yeah,
sent me over your calculator for RALs. So now we have the
yes,
multifamily
yes,
calculator and the RAL calculators uploaded. So
yeah,
this would be the addition of RAL into the
thank
Syndication
you,
Academy. I'm with it.
thank you.
I don't think anybody in the mastermind is going to complain. So
So
Vinny,
please
this
find out the exact time and date, during the week, and we can go and I can give every bit of knowledge I've learned. And I'm teaching that while doing it. And my students are finding deals and this and underwriting. Yeah, I'm very excited. Yeah.
I like it, brother. So I'll ask Serena what I think it's going to be one of the masterminds because for you it's five
Let's
o'clock
do
on
it.
the East Coast on the West Coast, so it'd be
Yes,
easy
yes.
enough for us. All right.
Totally, totally. All right. So
So for
it was
everybody
lovely.
everybody at home, wealth principle 34, accept what can't be changed and create an advantage. There are a lot of opportunities in the marketplace right now. Abundance Thursdays is a great place to get your mind right, to get excited again about what is happening. It's also like today, we're very clear and very real about what is actually happening, why you should be more cautious. And yeah, dry powder on the sidelines. Like we're net
Mhm.
sellers. We're selling more than we're buying, although we are still actively hunting. We're still looking. We are still
Totally.
acquiring assets. I'm
Mhm.
more on the short term. Vinny just talked about some flips he's doing. I've been doing some flips. Me not personally
Yeah.
as an operator, but operating with operators. Uh,
Yep.
and Vinny, after this call, I'd love to talk to you about a fund that Alchemist Station is
Sure,
looking to
brother.
start. So for each of you at
Excellent.
home,
Excellent.
no matter where you're at, whether you're crushing it or you're being crushed by it, the opportunity is to turn it around, right? Just keep
Yeah.
going in the right direction, and big things are coming towards you. Vinny, if we can get some one like nice pro tip on our way out of here, what would you like to say to the audience, to Alchemist
You
Nation?
know, I would really say that, I've said that action has to be there to play the ball, to find the right opportunities. You've got to be in the field. You cannot be spectator. You could be spectator for a certain time, but be ready with the dry powder or your investments and wet the deals. Wet the deals. Don't just be, very quickly wiring your money. Look at the paperwork, look at the clauses, look at the fees, like you said. All those things are so important. So slow down to speed up, I say. This hard earned money, when you invest, you want to preserve it and make it grow.
This is Abundance Thursdays with myself, Gualter Amarelo, and the great Vinney Smile Chopra. If you are having a blast and you're getting a lot of value out of this, please share this to a Facebook group that you know will be relevant, like a multifamily meetup or some sort of multifamily space, syndication space. We love to share and be seen, giving more